Hello everyone, Michelle here, the Brave Homeschooling Mama. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to share with you how to count or what to count as hours or as homeschooling for your high schooler, and also some ideas of how to keep your records. So hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm so glad that you're here. I'm a homeschool mom too, and I love to make videos about homeschooling, especially homeschooling kids with special needs. I love to share with you just encouragement. I love to share curriculum, and I'm also part of the homeschool review crew, so I always have tons of things to share with you. Today I want to share, I have a high schooler, I have a 10th grader, and I want to share with you what to count as hours to be able to give your child credit. So to give your child credit for a class or for an elective, I don't have a video on that, but I want to really quickly talk about that. So if you're doing a curriculum, if you are done with about 85% of the curriculum, math, whatever it is, you can give your child credit, 1 credit for that. If you do about 120 hours of writing, or language arts, you could count that as a credit. Or if you do 60, that will be half a credit. Other things that you can count is time spent, because there's some curriculums that are not, like, sometimes you will teach your child something and you will not use one curriculum that you go through the curriculum and many times, especially for electives. So you need to find different ways to what to count as homeschooling, what to count as hours of homeschooling, to be able to add those hours up, to be able to give your child credit. I know it's hard. I'm still battling with this. Am I doing this right? What's going to happen in 4 years when I need to finish her, her transcript? Will I have enough data? Will I have enough information to do this? So I'm showing you as I learn. I've done some videos on record keeping and credit, and I will post those, but I'm doing some other things a little bit different, and so I wanted to share. So some of the things that you can count for class, like this year I'm doing World War II history with my daughter. We have a curriculum that I shared, and it is a curriculum is for younger grades, so it's not very meaty. So I'm adding so many things to it to make it a whole curriculum. So it'll be hard to say, okay, we did 75% or 85% of this to count as credit. So I'm counting hours that we spend, and not just hours that we are spending sitting down at the kitchen table doing school. Yes, I count that. But we're doing World War II. We started watching World War II in color on Netflix. So I'm counting that 55 minutes twice a week. That's 2 hours of history right there. We're going to be going to some museums. We're going to be going to the Marines Museum just to study the World War II history part of it, and to different museums. So I'm going to count that as time spent studying. Any other field trips that we do, movies that we watch. If she's doing any type of research, if I'm doing a read aloud with her that has to do with that topic that we're studying, any courses that you do with your child, you can count that as hours. Like if your child wants to do, your guests are doing zoology, and you have a curriculum, or you're doing different resources, and your child decides, I want to take a class in outsource, or I'm sorry, out school, not outsource, and out school. Whatever time she or he takes time to do that class, it could be 1 hour, it could be 2, it could be a whole week of, you count that towards the credit, or towards the time spent in education towards the, for her credit. Also keep, her, volunteer hours, the things that your child will do for, volunteering. So anything counts as homeschooling. And that's something, especially in high school, when you have a high schooler, you also think about it with your younger kids. Oh, does this count? Does playing outside count as homeschooling? Yes. Does making brownies count as homeschooling? It does. But when you have the high school, you're like, man, I have to keep these credits. I have to graduate. I have to have all this evidence and all this. So it's hard. But everything counts as homeschooling. Everything counts. Last week we went on a field trip. We live in the DC area. We took the train and we went to DC, and we went to the Natural History Museum. We went and whatever we looked at is not things that we're doing biology, so we looked. She was interested in. We've been there plenty times, but we went into the insect. They have like actual live insects in there, and we went through that and we read and we looked at dinosaurs because I'm studying dinosaurs with my little one. So I counted the time that we were there of everything she was experiencing by looking and reading and just walking around. The time that we spent on that museum, I counted that as time spent for science. So you can, depending on what you're doing, even if it's not the theme that you're studying, you can count that. Next week, we're going to be going to, Philadelphia. We're going to be seeing the Liberty Bell, seeing what they signed the Declaration of Independence. We are going to be visiting one of the oldest, jails in the United States. So we're going to be doing all this history stuff. Yes, we're doing World War II history, but I'm going to count that as history, some kind of extra unit or extra studies. I'm counting that. So you can count your homeschooling for your high schooler in anything they do. And so my daughter, she volunteers at a farm. So she works extremely hard there. She probably spends about 6 hours a week in there. I wish she will get paid for that, but anyway, she loves it. So last year she started working with all the animals, and she did a lot of like actual manual labor, which she still does. But now she's concentrating more on horses. So I'm taking this, I am making it into an equine, studies, because she's learning so much about horses. Like she feeds them, she knows how to separate their food, she knows how to move them around. I think she's even, giving them some medicine. She's learning how to ride, learning how to train a horse that's been hasn't been ridden by anybody at the farm. She's been working with it to be able to ride it, and he was able to do it, ride it, this past weekend with the instructor. So that's time spent learning homeschooling. It doesn't have to be, homeschooling is not sitting on a desk reading or doing workbook. Homeschooling is experiences. Everything that they do, and I'm trying to get this into my head, trying to say it's okay, it's hard for me too, and that everything can count as homeschooling. Like I'm doing that as a course. So I'm going to show you how I'm doing record keeping, and some of the things that I just thought about because I've been reading and doing some research of what I'm going to do to change, and especially for that volunteer time that she's doing, and when we do outside of the house things, how to count it to have more records. Something that I did, and it's really simple. I guess I could have done this in the computer, more Excel, but I'm illiterate when it comes to that. But I just made a quick little chart here where I put the date. We provide the date here. It's kind of small, up here I have the different courses. I have English, math, biology, history, Spanish, and farm time. I've been keeping more track of biology and history because English, we do so much for English that I know we'll get the hours. For math, we do a lot of math. We spend a lot of time on math, so I know we get the time. We'll get through the curriculum and all the resources. So I'm not that worried about that. I worry about classes like biology. The biology that we're doing this year is not a curriculum. So I have a video of that I can, you guys can see, but it's a video that we watch, and we have a guide, and it gives you activities that you can do where you gather the materials, you do the things on your own. So and that book, and the guide actually has a chart, which I have on that other video, where you can log the hours of all the activities you're doing, because it's not as, okay, we're going through the book, let's go through the whole book. It's so different. But so I'm logging all the biology hours for everything we do, and for history, because I'm piecing so many things together. And then we're going to be watching videos and going on field trips. So I'm logging everything down, even if it's 10 minutes. We review for 10 minutes, or we watch this video for 20 minutes. I'm putting everything down just to have it here. So we can have evidence, so we can have records of it. Another thing that I'm going to start doing, I didn't do it last year, so I'm going to start doing from this week on. It is what it is. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to either just have a notebook or something that she can keep, or for both of us to work together. When she's at the farm each week, when we go on a field trip, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna keep a little log. It can just be in a spiral notebook like this. So I'm gonna have her write maybe at the end of the week, once I have all the hours for her farm. I want her to write just a couple things that she did. She doesn't have to write anything. So today I fed the horses, I worked with the horse, I trained him in this, and we'll write it down, the date and how much time she spent, or maybe at the end of each day, or at the end of the week, or because she works in the mornings and Tuesdays and Thursdays, we do the morning. She goes in the morning, then she goes again at night to feed the horses again, and she does the same thing on Thursdays. So maybe I'll do at the end of that day, when she does those about 4 hours, 3.5 to 4 hours, we'll log that in. So I'm just gonna get a notebook, we're gonna write the time, just to have evidence. Then if we need to type this later, we'll do it. But right now, so that's what we're gonna do. If we go on a field trip, how many hours did we spend? I'm planning on taking them or her, to the aquarium when we do aquatic animals for biology. How much time did we spend in there? Let's try, very quick, what we did, so we have some evidence of that. So that's something new that I'm gonna start. I wish I would have started last year. I kept some of the time for the farm that I was able to count for a credit for her for animal husbandry and farming. But this year I'm gonna count. We're gonna do more equine studies, and some volunteer hours, because she's learning so much. So yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do. So this is how I'm keeping track of my hours for homeschooling. How you can keep track of your homeschool. It doesn't have to be just what your student does by writing and reading their book and doing their assignments. It can be so much more. You can count everything as homeschool. And then maybe count, like if they're baking something, maybe count that as math and put it as a math hour. Especially, like I said, now for high schooler, where you need to be a little bit more, intentional keeping those hours. When they're young, don't worry about it, everything counts. But now that they're in high school, everything counts, make sure you keep a log of it. That's the important part. So I hope this was helpful. If you are a mom of a high schooler and you have any more ideas of what to count as how to count homeschool of your record keeping, I am very basic, paper and pencil, a little chart, nothing fancy. It doesn't add hours because I'm not. I just write it down. But yeah, so let me know. We'd love to get more ideas from everybody, so you can also help everybody that's watching the videos. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on my next video. Bye.